96.7 KCAL rocks. It is your Monday meeting. Let's talk a little sports with our guy, Pep. Pep, what's going on?
Man, there's a lot to recap over the weekend. A lot of stuff going on the golf course, on the baseball field, basketball, hockey. But first, a quick shout out to our local guy, Jaelan Phillips, the star linebacker, outside defensive end kind of guy. He's a hybrid for the Miami Dolphins, the pride of Redlands, East Valley. Just hosted his annual youth football camp this past Saturday. And for Jaelan, 2 years ago, he tore his ACL. 2 years ago, he tore his Achilles. Then last year, he tore his ACL. Well, if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, if you're a Jaelan Phillips fan, he says he's feeling great, better than ever. He'll be ready for the start of the season. So there's your Jaelan Phillips update for all those fans out there.
Yeah, overcoming some big injuries there.
Yeah, some significant injuries. But when he's healthy, he's one of the best, outside pass rushers in the game. Again, he's a kind of a defensive end linebacker hybrid. So all the best to Jaelan Phillips out of Redlands, East Valley. All right, the big news, man, and we were waiting for it. We kind of saw the writing on the wall that Shohei Ohtani had been throwing these simulated games, and when would they bring him back, and how would they bring him back? And well, we got our answer, man. He is going to be the starting pitcher tonight for the Dodgers as they take on, yes, the Padres. So of all teams, he's going to start against the rivals against San Diego in Los Angeles.
Now, I know that it was kind of the plan to do this, but I think they were thinking about not doing it until they had so many pitchers on the IL. My goodness, it's so many pitchers. It's absolutely insane. We thought it was bad last year, and somehow they were able to put it together. They need Ohtani to pitch. So maybe it made this decision a little bit easier. He has been working out for a while, doing bullpen sessions, so maybe he's Pep. I just hope he doesn't blow his arm out. As long as everything goes okay, I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think the Dodgers were maybe forced into this decision because you're right, man. And it seems like every single year they load up on all these pitchers. And you're like, why do they need all these guys? Like, you can only have 5, maybe 6 starters at the most. Like, what is going on? And lo and behold, it always happens. They've got pitchers going down right and left with injuries, and there is Shohei Ohtani waiting in the wings. And yeah, I think maybe out of necessity at this point, they need him to be on the mound. Maybe they need him on the mound more than they actually need him at the plate because they've got plenty of, usually they have plenty of offense, to surround him with. So I think it's going to be very interesting. I'm excited. Now it's must-see TV. Dodgers versus Padres is always good. But to see Ohtani on the mound tonight, man, that is going to be big time for the Dodgers.
Definitely. And maybe it is something that we did learn from last year. They got 1 million arms, and they needed every single one of them. So, yeah. I mean, even Ohtani's this year.
Dude, I got into sports broadcasting in 2000. So how many years is that? 25 years?
Yep.
I feel like every single year the Dodgers go out and they get all these pitchers, and you're like, why? You don't need all these guys. Get more offense or whatever. And they do. They always need them. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's how they manage their pitchers. I don't know what it is. But injuries always seem to plague the Dodgers pitchers.
You need a lot of arms, a lot of guns.
Yeah. So big win for the Dodgers yesterday against the Giants. Now they got the Padres. Ohtani on the bump tonight. It's showtime, as everyone is saying. So very exciting. He hasn't pitched since 2023. Remember, he didn't even throw last year when they won the World Series. So now it's the return of Shohei Ohtani. And the other big news, too, at least for baseball fans, Rafael Devers, a slugger for the Boston Red Sox, going to the Giants. So the arms race, the power race between the Dodgers and the Giants and the Padres, this is what it's going to look like going up to the trade deadline because the Giants know they don't have enough to compete with those 2 other teams in the division.
3-way battle we got ahead of us.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. We'll see if the Padres and Dodgers do anything before the trade deadline in about a month or so. To the NBA Finals, Game 5 is tonight, and Game 5 is always critical when the series is tied 2 games apiece, and that's exactly what's happening with the Thunder and the Pacers. I think it's still a toss-up, man. I really don't know which way to lean because the Pacers just continue to surprise everybody.
I think this is going 7 games for sure, and boy, it is tough to pick a winner. I think everyone thought OKC was going to do it. But we're kind of remembering, and maybe they're remembering, they're very young. So sometimes it's tough for the young to stay tough, if you will. Either you got to be too dumb to realize how big a game it is, or you do realize how big a game it is and it's harder on you. That
Yeah.
seems to be what's happening to OKC, even though they fought back in Game 4.
Yeah. Yeah, and for Indiana too, like they were kind of a dark horse, right, to get to this point, kind of a Cinderella season for the Indiana Pacers. So for them, maybe they're just playing with house money. You're like, dude, nobody even expected us to be here, let alone tied in the finals 2-2 against the team who had the best regular season, who was the heavy favorite to win the NBA championship. Maybe, all the pressure you would say is on the Thunder, and really none is on Indiana. So maybe they can go out and play a little free and, get the job done. I still think OKC wins it. I think there's just too much talent with the Thunder. But yeah, if it goes 7 games, and I think it will, I think it'll be fun.
Yes, it will.
And speaking of critical Game 5s, the Stanley Cup Finals, man. We haven't talked enough hockey around here. But the Panthers up 3-2 against the Edmonton Oilers after they took Game 5 on Saturday night. And Patrick, I'll be honest, that was probably the first hockey game that I've watched on TV from start to finish in a long time, man. It was awesome. It's exciting. Florida Panthers, they just seem to save the best for the postseason. Remember 2 years ago, they made the finals. Last year, they won the Stanley Cup. And this year, they're, one win away now from, going back-to-back as, Stanley Cup champions.
It's something that does take us a while because football and basketball and then even baseball dominates so much. But every time the NHL playoffs come around, and if you do watch it, you realize how exciting it is.
Dude, playoff hockey, man. Really, there's nothing better. Like, if you could see it in person, I'm sure it would be insane. I'd love to be at one of those games. But even just watching it on TV, there's something about playoff hockey. I don't really keep tabs on hockey super close during the regular season, but the postseason, especially the Stanley Cup Final, man, it is amazing. So Florida is 1 win away from being the champions. And then that brings up another point, too. A Canadian team has not won the Stanley Cup trophy since 93. The Montreal Canadiens were the last Canadian club to win it. So Florida trying to shut out Canada again.
Gosh, 32 years ago. That's wild, man. Yeah. It's their sport.
Yeah, it's their sport, man. So we'll see if Florida can get it done. And finally, the U.S. Open wrapped up on Sunday. The course was brutal. The weather was just equally as tough, especially on Sunday with a lot of rain and soggy conditions. But J.J. Spaun, the pride of San Dimas High School, the pride of San Diego State, rolls in like a 65 foot crazy putt to win it, man. You never see like a walk-off shot on the golf course. He did exactly that to win his first major championship at 1 under par, man. I don't know if you saw the video, but it was crazy to win that way.
Right. You know what? I mean, golf does have a little bit of that crazy element, kind of like baseball. There's a part of the sport that is a lot tougher to control. Yes, there's luck involved in all of our sports that we talk about, but especially these two. A little bounce of the ball here or a bounce of the ball there. It goes in when you're not expecting it to. It is wild, man. That's why being dominant in either sport is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think you need a little luck, too. I think J.J. Spaun also had a shot that actually it hit the pin. It was almost like a hole in, the hole in one, but he was going to hole it from his approach, and then it rolled back like 60 feet. So it went from being an incredible, iconic shot to being like, oh, my gosh, I'm going to bogey or double bogey this hole because of that.
Oh, no, come on.
Yes.
He's a beast is what we learned. There were some frustrated golfers out there, a lot of bleepity, bleepity, bleep, if you heard some of the audio from it. But it's tough stuff, and that's the way it is sometimes. That's why we do our sports with our guy, Pep. Pep, tell me how to get your stuff.
Hey, we're open 24/7 on X, on Instagram, on Facebook. We also have the YouTube channel. That's Inland Sports.
Thanks, Pep.